Hey everybody, welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit that 1970s comedy drama family show, 8 is Enough. So, grab the football out of your father's hand. I don't know it's fine. And join us.
Hey, it is Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina and Paisley, apparently.
I was just going to say, and this is Paisley. And this is Brian, and Paisley is barking in the background, keeping us safe. And speaking of safe, we should say, we are still very much social distancing. I am looking diagonally across the room at Christina. We are a solid, I would say, 7.5, 8 feet.
Easily.
I think. Yeah.
Easily.
And thank you for joining us. We hope everyone's being safe and still able to enjoy some sun and enjoy the summer safely. Safely. And we are talking today about 8 is Enough. We watched some selected episodes of Season 1. Now we start, as we always do, with Then. This is 1977, Season 1. Christina, let's hear it.
So
what do you recall?
I can tell you, so I used to watch this pretty religiously with my family. So I grew up with a big family as well. So I had 6 in my family, not quite 8. But I remember having, I feel like it was like a Friday night or something like that. I feel like it was some sort of a weekend night. Like, that makes a difference when you're a child, right?
Right.
But we would sit and watch it together, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I was always fascinated by just how many of the children there were, and I really liked the chaos, and I loved David. David was like my guy.
Grant Goodeve.
Yep. So, I loved it. I have all fond memories of 8 is Enough.
Huh, nice.
Yeah, what about you?
Grant Goodeve, really quick, yes. I felt like he was, we'll get into that, but I feel like he was like the male Jacqueline Smith. I wonder if they ever dated. They're both gorgeous.
He is still gorgeous. I looked him up recently. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't, no. So, 77, I guess I was 5. But I remember this show.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was so disappointed watching the DVD because I thought I was waiting for the theme song. I used to love it. And which Grant Goodeve sings. It's
kidding.
There's a plate of homemade wishes, like on the kitchen windowsill, and 8 is enough to fill our lives with love. But instead it's like this, like din 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 din, and it's like it's a little.
So and it changes too in the episodes that we watched. The first one, I think, the first episode was so different anyway. But like this theme was different. And then I feel like it was somewhere around. We watched 4 episodes. We watched episode 1, episode 5, episode 6, and episode 8. And I feel like I want to say by.
And that was enough. No, I'm kidding.
8 was enough. It just took a lot of time.
It did. Yeah.
It took a lot of time, but I feel like it changed. I know at least the opening sequences changed, but I can't remember now if the song itself. I feel like the song itself changed by 8, but not into the song that you remember.
But it was the human pyramid.
The human
pyramid. And that, I absolutely remembered that. And I remember, I was actually shocked. So then, I do remember watching this show. I remember Nicolas just being like the funny kid being like, oh, I wish, that was my, younger brother, or even, my friend probably at that age. So cute.
I looked it up. He's, 2 years younger than me or something like that. Yeah. I think he's older than you.
Yeah. So I guess I'd want him, my friend, then. But I do remember, but I remember Abby. But I remember, this Elizabeth being, the sort of, not the beauty queen, but
she was
popular crazy.
She was the hippie cool, because of the long hair.
Yeah.
The long hair did it. The long straight hair, the bell bottoms.
tight butt jeans. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was sort of how I felt too. Like she was super, like the cool one.
Yeah, I will say this though. So my I also had 5. There were 5 kids. There are 5 kids in my family, and but very big family. And I did when you said let's revisit this. My first thought was like, oh wow, I remember Tom Bradford being kind of a lightweight as a father. Like I didn't remember him like compared to like Mike Brady. I feel like Mike Brady is like aggressive compared to Tom Bradford. I never remember Tom Bradford yelling at his kids. I remember him being frazzled a lot, but that Betty Buckley in season 2, she played Abby, the stepmother.
Yes.
And I remember very vividly that she would be like the quiet, calming voice of reason. But I just remembered, and so I was almost excited to revisit this to like, why did I think that? But then I remembered my own upbringing, which was all yelling and screaming.
Right.
So he did seem lightweight to me.
In my memory of him was that he was sort of yelling a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, that's so funny. I don't remember him.
But not in a scary way. Yeah. Just maybe what you're saying.
Like angry?
Like a frazzled. Yeah, like always sort of like...
Okay, girls. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What am I going to do with all these kids? You know, like...
Which was... how almost every episode ended.
Yes.
Of that show.
So did you know that this is based on
a true story?
A true story written. It was a book.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the guy, but it was based on his life of a father of 8 children.
And he was in the CIA, and he ended up becoming a news reporter, journalist person, writer, and and so and 8 kids and the whole thing. Yeah, I did not know that certainly then, but I learn that later.
And I didn't do a ton of research on that. I don't know if it's the same makeup of boys to girls. I would be interested to see that because I did like the makeup of it. I was aside, as opposed to like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Where it's like 3 and 3.
There are 3 boys, 5 girls.
Yeah, and now it's and what I liked is also like the 2 younger boys are like the 2 youngest kids were boys because Elizabeth's older than Tommy.
Wow.
So I liked that it wasn't so neat in package.
Well, can we jump in now?
Yes, absolutely.
The mother says 4 of you were accidents.
I know, I have it written down. And let me just tell you.
Obviously Nicolas was an accident.
Oh,
there's too much of an age gap.
Yeah, for sure. So that was a funny line. I'm like, wow, this is funny. A lot of different lines in this sitcom or dramedy, I guess.
There's a laugh track.
There's a laugh track.
Which,
oh my gosh! But let me just start by saying the first episode starts. First of all, there are 3 different actors in the first episode than the rest of the series. It was Tommy was a different actor, so no Willie Ames. David was a different actor. It was Mark Hamill, not Grant Goodeve. Mm-hmm. And he left to do a small show, what was that small movie called? Star something? Star Trek, I think? I'm just kidding. Obviously Star Wars. Yeah. But he left to do that, so I don't know if he regrets leaving A's and F's.
That's so mean. But I do say, he was so good. When he's yelling at Tom... I was like, ooh.
He's a good actor. And that was his first, I think that was his first acting job.
Too, yeah.
And then the other one was Nancy, the blonde. That was a different actress in the first episode as well. So they replaced all 3 of them.
Wow.
Which was I was like really surprised about that. I had no recollection of that.
It does happen because it's like, it's called pilot season.
Right.
And so that you could actually have the same actor doing 4 different pilots, and sometimes none of them get picked up, and sometimes more of them gets picked up, and then they're recast. They'll say, "We like the show, we don't like them."
Right.
It's a tough gig.
Very interesting. But the biggest surprise to me was that there was a mother. I had no recollection of them ever having a mother until Abby showed up, and I was like, what the hell? Who's this? And then I did a little research on it. And
so
it's
sad.
Devastating. What a sad story. This woman, she was in 4 episodes. Although, surprise, she wasn't in episode 4. She was in 1, 2, 3, and 5.
1, 2, and 4, I think. No?
Or
no, you're right. She wasn't 5. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay. So she was in those 4. She got cancer and she died.
Yeah.
It was like crazy.
Super sad.
Super sad. Diana Hyland.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, really, really devastating.
She was good.
She was so good.
So good. Really
she
necessary.
She actually dated. She was in Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
No,
and she's one of my favorite movies from the 70s, with John Travolta. Yeah. And she dated John Travolta for a while. Like she had quite a history, and she was in quite a bit. But yeah, this poor woman, she died after only being in this for 4 episodes. And the surprising part to me, they never mention it. And I was so happy that we did the episodes that we did. Yeah. We chose them before we knew any of this background stuff. And so we got to see the last episode she was in, which was episode 5, and then we actually watched episode 6, which is the immediately following. And I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to address it? They never address it. They never mention the mother. They never mention she's not away on business. She's I'm waiting.
Goosebumps. I know it's handled so poorly. They don't even mention her name. In that episode, Christina, that the first episode without her is the quarantine episode.
Yes,
you would be like, "Where's my mom?" Like,
right. It's like she's already disappeared, and like it was so bizarre. So apparently, they do address it in the season 2, first episode of season 2, which we did not watch, but they address it in that episode, and how they address it is that he's been a widower for a year.
They never mention if she passes away.
I don't know how. I don't know if they mention how she does it or whatever. But in that opening season 2, he has been a widower for 2 years, for 1 year rather, and I think they're trying to set him up with Abby at that point. So anyway.
I went crazy. I went crazy like you, too. So I was like, what the hell with this mother? And because I really liked her character.
I really did, too.
And she felt very contemporary to me. Tom felt a little stiff, actually.
Yes.
But she was like, we're going to jump all around.
Yes.
But I ended up reading ahead, because I was like, how did Abby enter the world? Because I remember Abby so vividly, played by Betty Buckley.
Oh, huge.
She was a tutor for Nicolas or
somebody,
Tommy.
Yeah, one of them.
And they started dating. But they broke up. If you read the synopsis, I went psycho. I read season 2 synopses, and they broke up like 3 times in season 2. So and then suddenly it's like Tom and Abby get married. I'm like, wait, like it's like 4 episodes later. But it's so sad about Diana Hyland. Is that her name? And because she really they needed that character.
She was so good.
There's episode 5 called Turnabout. There's a guest star, Adrienne Barbeau. I think this may have been my favorite episode of the 4 we watched. And David is 22 or 21.
Which, 22, and I wrote it down. I'm like, are you kidding me? He looks 30.
We'll get into that. So then,
yes.
Adrienne Barbeau is 31. I believe in this. So there's a 9-year age difference. It's a big deal. But the mother is the only person who says, well, I mean, men date younger women all the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but I mean, but a woman dating younger, and Tom's kind of a dick about it. And she's like, well, maybe and she says something along the lines of, men aren't the only one that appreciate a firm body. It was like, go girl!
She has some great and again, so this is 77, right? So it's right in, like, the middle, or I guess later, of that, like, women's movement, and, this independent women, and all this kind of stuff. So it's funny to see the mom being from a different generation, being so
she's very for this,
it's not as unbelievable to see Tom being
of course you need that drama,
but he's like really something. Some of the stuff that he does.
Tom. Oh my God! Do you remember how that episode ends?
Oh, how does it?
It's so okay. So this is another thing, you guys.
Sorry, we're all over the place.
So there's clearly a commercial break. Right?
Yes,
and they come back for like a 2-minute scene.
Yeah.
Every episode's like that. I don't remember that being young and that they did that. What they come back to for Turnabout, the Adrienne Barbeau episode, they come back, it is 90 seconds, and it ends with Tom. Okay, so finally there's like it's too much to get into. But
there's so much going on.
There's a lot of drama in this episode. But Tom, Adrienne Barbeau's character walks out of the room. Tom looks at his son, Grant Goodeve, David, and says,
"Oh, here we go.
One thing's for sure, she is one hot number." And it ends!
God!
I'm like, why did you have to say that? That is so creepy, gross, weird. It's your son's girlfriend.
That just broke. They just broke up at that point, right? Didn't they break up?
No, it ends with them together.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's never seen again.
She's never seen again. Yeah, but they were.
But I loved her character.
That character was a riot. That whole episode was crazy. I just felt like David was I liked him in the whole series, but this particular episode, he just had so many, and I'm sure it was like a director situation. He had so many scenes where he's just like starry-eyed, gazing into the unknown because he's so in love. And I didn't feel like he played that too realistically. Did you?
Oh, I did. He's
it was a little bit over the top.
I think there were two things going on with that, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like that was, he is the heartthrob. We need to give him some close-ups. That's one thing.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. I appreciated the close-ups. Don't get me wrong.
But I believed that chemistry. I thought they made a nice couple.
I thought they made a nice couple. But it was so rushed. I mean, it was literally like 2 days, and they were madly in love with each other. It was too much. You know me with the timelines. I'm not a big fan of like the rushed timeline things. Like, I don't think it's realistic. Maybe if they had I don't know. Maybe if they pushed it up a month, or you know what I mean. At least if they were together, they went on like one date.
I know, and
they were like in love.
Hello, it happens again in episode 8 with Joni. No, what's her name?
Oh, was Joni? Yeah, it was Joni.
Which also, can we say this? The parents' names are Tom and Joan. 2 of the kids' names are Tommy and Joni.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And also, why name your first son David and your second son Tommy Jr.?
Yeah,
name David
that
Tommy
was
Jr.
Strange.
That's so odd.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that. But it might have been a realistic thing. It might have been just because it's based on a real story. I want to look it up and see if, I want to get a little more into that actual story. It'd be interesting to read the book too.
Really quick, we loved her house. Episode 5.
I know, it was so good.
Slanted window, giant slanted windows. Yeah. The bar. I'm like, that is a cool 70s house.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
They were clearly trying to make her look as
sophisticated
and successful and 30.
Contemporary. Yeah.
Because that's what we are.
Her life's half over.
I thought we'll just stick to this episode for now. I thought Nicolas was pretty good. I really liked Nicolas in these. I thought he was like, he delivered his lines. He's rolling his eyes. I feel like he delivered his lines for the age that he was at. I felt like he delivered his lines effectively. Like, he made me chuckle, and he was kind of a little bit of that comic relief, which I liked in that specific episode. I forget what his storyline is. What was his storyline? Maybe he just didn't have a storyline. Maybe that's why I liked it.
I wrote Nicolas sips champagne.
Yeah, he took a sip of champagne.
And it wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah, you never see that here.
That would be its own episode nowadays.
Yeah,
a child drinking from a glass of champagne. That would be the end of it.
Yeah, that would be done.
That'd be a cliffhanger.
There'd be so many problems. I thought the camera angles, especially in this episode, were a little bit strange.
The picnic.
There was the picnic. They were playing frisbee, and they shot the scene through the spokes of a bike. Like the camera was going through the spokes of a bike to see the thing. There was also through a fish tank. There was like a scene that they shot through a fish tank. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are they doing that? I didn't notice it in the other episodes. Did you?
1,000%, Christina. I wrote, scene with them on the picnic is so effing creepy. I said, the way this is shot is scary.
It's like a stalker.
It feels like Halloween.
Yeah.
Like the movie Halloween.
Totally. Oh my gosh,
it's that
totally.
same 70s, like, sort of muted colors and stuff. And I was like, is someone going to jump out of the bushes on that?
Yeah, like, is someone spying on them? Is this like an ex-boyfriend?
That's what it is. That you just said it. That's what it is. You feel like, and I don't think that's the intent, but you felt like you were spying. Mm-hmm. It felt very, like, obscured camera angles. I'm like, this is a weird choice.
Weird. It was almost like they were, like, experimenting for some reason of...
I bet it was just a different director that wanted to
It had
try
to have been,
stuff.
or at least a different videographer or whatever. I loved Andrea Barbeau in it.
She's so great anyway.
Mary, do we want to talk about Mary a little bit?
Mary's the
oldest. She, in this episode specifically, I think in the first episode that we watched as well, I just felt like she was such an overactor. She was always angry. She was always yelling. She was intense. Like, everything was like...
Christina.
Oh, God.
Did you do any research about these actresses? Oh, my God.
Was she on drugs? I know she died from drugs.
Yeah, she did. But here's the other thing. She apparently had such debilitating anxiety, they would pump her up with, antidepressants and all this kind of stuff. So
it shows. Very intense.
And I have to be honest, Christina, I have that same note.
Yeah.
But not for that episode. So we can jump back and forth, but episode 8, and really quick, you guys, if you're listening to this, you might be like, 8 is enough, how do I even watch it? I hate to say local libraries.
Local libraries. They're starting to open up.
They're starting to open up again.
Yeah.
But go to the local library. A lot of them have DVDs.
I think.
It's worth it. It's like interesting to watch the fashions, the drama, the acting.
So we have to go back to episode 1 at some point.
Yeah, I know. So really quick though, I wrote that Mary, lots of head bopping on the phone. Someone calls for Tom, and she's like, "Hi, no, he's not here right now." And I'm like, wait, why is she acting this way? It was a little off.
But it must have been the drugs.
Then she says, as a line, they shouldn't... Oh, good.
I'm saying, I said it must have been the drugs, but it must have been the drugs that they gave her. I don't mean to say that she was...
They shouldn't use abbreviations in beginner cookbooks. And I wrote Waka Waka. Because she says it like it's supposed to be a real funny joke, but they don't do the laugh track on it, and it's so weird. And I'm like, you know what? They're assholes. Because they only use the laugh track for Nicolas and Tom. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. I did notice it was weird and sporadic laugh tracks. That is absolutely. I didn't notice it was specific to Nicolas and
Tom. Yeah.
And Tom, maybe it was in their contracts. I don't know, but I felt like it was sort of strange. I don't even know if they needed a laugh track. I don't know. Like, they needed to do something different with it, that's for sure, because it didn't line up with what should be.
Say something right now. I'm going to impersonate the laugh track. Read one of your notes.
Let's see. I have a note that I don't understand,
right.
So I'll just say, if you're not... Oh, it was a pickup line.
Okay, right.
Oh my God. So the pickup line was... if you're not celibate.
Like, what, isn't it right? Like, the laugh track is, like, so unenthusiastic. Yes. It's so weird. Yes. They don't need it.
Yes. So, that was David's line to Andrea Barbeau. If you're not celibate, would you like to go out with me?
And she repeats it.
Yeah.
She's like, if you're not celibate, wow.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So that, Mary was overacting. And I thought that, I thought David was a little bit too serious after it was one date, and he was so serious. Had the soft music. Yeah. I felt like it was just really over the top. And the scenes seemed really, really long for me.
See, this is so funny. That was my favorite episode, and I actually even wrote down, there's a scene where Jennifer's the character's name, played by Adrienne Barbeau, and she has a speech about being single over 30, and I really liked the speech.
Yeah.
And she talked about
I like that speech too.
The perception of a single woman over there, and this is 77, and I have to be honest, I feel like what she says is almost still relevant today. I think maybe it ended with Sex and the City, that sort of idea of this idea of like, you're just damned no matter what you do. Why aren't you married? What's wrong with you? Oh, you need to be more whatever. It's a really nice scene.
Definitely.
And,
I actually really
I
like that scene as well. I think the scenes what I mean by too long is there's so many scenes without any dialogue that was just watching them. It's supposed to, I guess, establish their relationship. The stalker scene, and them just like sitting and having and like walking, and there's a lot of those long, silent with just the soft music, I guess, playing. That I just thought was too long. Like you didn't need many of them.
I respectfully disagree, but I get it.
Yeah.
I think because I'm not used to seeing that in TV shows. Really, like where it actually takes its time and.
Well, it took its time, but it should have been
some dialogue.
Longer. Not necessarily. I would have appreciated the scenes better if it had taken place over the course of a longer period of time. And not 2 days of long scenes walking together. Like, when are you getting to know each other?
I agree with that to the idea of make it a 2-part episode or a 3-part story arc for Adrienne Barbeau's character. She's so good. They do have chemistry. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could even YouTube this episode, but it's worth watching.
It's worth watching, for sure.
And I think it's a standalone. I don't think you need to understand it is enough to enjoy that episode.
It is. So, and what's interesting about this is this was episode 5. And it was Diana Hyland's last episode. I mean, it doesn't. I was actually thinking this. I'll talk about episode 6 after because my point was actually for episode 6. What else? Oh, I did enjoy the group scenes with the girls. Like, I feel like the scenes with all the girls together. Oh God! And
God. Why are we're just disagreeing? I don't know what.
Maybe it's the memory that I have of it or something.
I think that's what it is,
because
too.
when I'm thinking about it is enough, I am thinking about just the chaos
you grew up with
and all the
sisters.
girls.
You grew up with
I grew up with
sisters.
sisters, I have 4 sisters.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I really, I felt like it was more real than some of the other stuff was going on. Like when there was just a bunch of girls in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? And what was funny, like Susan, right? The redhead girl, Susan. She'd be like at the table with her head on the table.
Yeah.
She did that several times throughout this 4 episodes that we watched. And I just thought it was like
Google her.
Weird. Oh, I don't think I want to. I just thought it was like weird.
Yeah.
Like
but true.
Not necessarily, but true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think today you would not see a group of girls in a kitchen in a sitcom with one of them like laying on the table
for no apparent reason.
For no reason. It's not because she has a headache. It's not because she was tired. It's not because she overworked. It's just because that's what she was doing. And I like that realistic kind of like chaotic. Everybody's sort of talking, and sometimes people aren't talking, and it's okay, and talking over each other.
Did her southern accent bother you?
Oh God, yeah. Their accents were a bit...
Like, she has a southern accent. She has a line. I wrote it down. I'm like, are you kidding me? She wrote, episode 6, Quarantine. She has the line, she's supposed to make a salad. She said it like, she's supposed to make a salad. And I'm like, wait, why does she have a southern accent?
Why is she southern all of a sudden?
She's related to these people.
And she's not the actress. Who's the actress? Is Nancy? Joni. Joni's the one that's the actress. So you can almost see her doing it because she's supposed to be like playing a part or something.
Joni was 30, by the way, when this started filming. Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't look at the ages at all. Joni did look oldish.
I was just impressed. I thought she was a great actress. I thought she was probably the best actress, and I think the show realized it too.
Yes,
because there are a couple episodes where I'm like, oh, it's her. I also wondered if maybe they, with the mom passing away, they had to boost somebody up, and she was probably, since she was older, they're probably, well, she can handle these.
Yeah, although Mary was the oldest, but she was supposed to be more of like a career gal, I think.
But Mary had all those personal issues. The actress had personal issues.
Right,
so
she could
let's not overwhelm her. She's struggling with the spaghetti scene. Let's not give her...
Right? We don't want to give her any caretaking situation. So let's go back to season 1 for episode 1 for just a second. Just so I want to kind of... Yeah, and I think it was a pilot. You can tell by just watching it that it is a pilot.
100%.
It is absolutely 100% a pilot episode. It was confusing. It was... there was a lot of weird drama, like dialogue. There was like a whole conversation about wearing a bra.
I wrote it down.
Right?
Yeah.
It says, it was, so this is so inappropriate. Like, so inappropriate.
Tom.
Tom.
Bradford.
Dick Van Patten is his name.
Yeah.
But Tom, first of all, he looks so young. I was like, oh my God, he looks really young when I first saw his face. He's in the office, and I think one of his daughters didn't want to wear a bra or something.
That's right.
He's in the office, and he's talking to his female...
Secretary.
I was going to say co-worker, but secretary, right? Yeah. Do the majority of the women wear bras? Do you wear a bra during... Oh, because it was an operation. Wait. Why is that the line? Do you wear a bra during the operation? Did somebody want a breast... What is happening with that line?
No,
I can't remember
it was,
what that was.
he flat out
But
asked,
he did ask her.
He flat out asked the secretary if she wears bras or always wears bras.
Right.
And I, this is really funny. So I watched this, most unfortunately, and we won't get into this, but during the civil unrest of recent days.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, if you didn't know what white privilege is,
right?
Watch this scene. He's talking to his secretary so inappropriately, and he's the good guy. He's the good guy.
Yeah.
And she has to giggle it off, and it's like, that's really wrong. And then she peeps her head back in the office, and she's like, by the way, Dr. So-and-so called. He wants to know if you want to play hooky and go golfing. He's like, no, I can't today. He wants to know if you can play hooky and go golfing. So, I mean, this is something that Tom does. So Tom is most likely lying to his wife.
Yes.
Not working. Goes golfing with his doctor friends and just plays hooky from his job.
Right.
Asks the secretary if she's wearing a bra. And he is the hero of this show.
It's so bizarre.
He's the nice guy.
And it's the pilot.
Blew my mind.
It's not even like an established character.
This is 1977. 1977.
Yeah, it was really, really strange.
I didn't like any of that business.
Yeah. I felt like there was too much going on. There were 4 storylines in that first episode. 4 major storylines. There was the Elizabeth might be doing drugs or gets arrested for having drugs on her. David moves out. That was another big thing. There was financial trouble, right? He was having like all these, and he had to like refinance the house or something.
Why did that make me so uncomfortable? They kept talking about money and like specific amounts of money. I'm like, I don't need to know your business.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes I appreciate that when characters talk about like how much things cost.
Yep. And I feel like
it worried me they were so broke.
Well, I think that it was the most sort of appropriate storyline for the pilot episode because they do need to establish, which they never even address further on. Never address it again. But because they're a family of 8 children and all this, right? So I feel like that was the only real like kind of maybe not appropriate, but like it just seemed like a normal thing to address in the first episode.
That house, Christina.
I know.
Fucking have a yard sale. Have you heard that broke? Sell the artwork that's all over your house. Yeah. It was very weird to me. Like you don't have any savings. You keep having children. Yeah. Like I'm sorry.
More
accidents. That's right.
They can't afford.
I was blown away by that line.
And then the other one, I know, me too. And then the other one was Nicolas having his tonsils out. There were 4 major storylines in the one episode. I'm like, what the hell? Can we just focus on 2?
Oh my god. Really quick.
Yes.
So you mentioned Nicolas and how cute he is. I have this note in a couple different episodes. I wrote, I can't understand a word Nicolas says. And I only can base it on the laugh tracks that it's even funny. I really struggled understanding what he's saying.
I did not struggle with what he... I don't know why. I don't know. I understood it. And I did like him. I think I was going into it thinking he was going to be terrible.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And I was happy that he wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Because he was always billed as like the cute one, so I'm like, that's all he is. He's just cute.
Well, yeah.
But I was surprised to like see that. Okay, he actually does have a little bit of acting.
In my research, the Nicolas was almost like the Rachel hairdo from Friends.
Yes.
Like so many little boys were getting the Nicolas, the bowl cut.
Oh,
they call it a page boy back then. Yeah.
I did like the little touch of when David was moving out, he took the pictures off the wall and like there was like a mark.
Yes. Oh my god, same. That? I totally like
that.
I
really like that a lot.
Again, Mark Hamill, and him and Tom and yelling. That is some really nice acting.
Yeah.
Like, I believed it. I was like, holy shit, like, he's angry.
But wasn't it funny? Like, I was, like, surprised that he moved out in the first episode. Like, a lot of that first episode surprised me. I'm like, did he live there for a while?
Completely agree with you.
Like, I was very surprised. I'm like, the first episode, even so much so that I was convinced he would move back in at the end of the episode. Because I'm like, no, I know he lived with them for a long time.
I remember the VW van.
Yes. Well, I have so many great references of the 70s. And I loved, that was like my favorite part of the first episode, is seeing the VW van, the rotary phones, the types of cars, ashtrays on the tables. Like, really cool, like, 70s, definitely 70s show that you wouldn't see.
Well, even just the phone, the references to the phone bill, right?
Oh, yes.
The phone bill, and then just the cord and the dialing. And
all that stuff is so...
That was really funny. And that, like, she's still on the phone.
Yeah,
like,
that was absolutely something that happened in our house.
Yes, our house.
And we had the stretched cord that went... We had one phone.
Oh, my God.
6 kids. It was in the kitchen. So we'd have to stretch the cord all the way across the kitchen into what we call the den. And just shut the door on it. So it would be like, 5 girls, right? 5 girls. So there was always, the cord was always going across the room. Like, you got used to just, like, ducking underneath it when you had to go to, like, the refrigerator or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny to think about. So I'm the oldest of 5, 3 brothers and a sister. And my sister and I used to babysit a lot. And this is just going back to the phone cord thing. I know I've told you the story before. My sister and I were in a fight, and we would babysit a lot, and the thing was, if something happened, call grandmother.
Yeah.
And so I took the phone, and this is when the buttons were on the handheld receiver, so you could dial. And so I picked up the phone, and I walked across the room to dial. And Terry, my sister, was like, "You're not calling Graham, don't tell on me." And she clicked the hang-up button on the wall, and I was like, as soon as you let go, I'm going to call Graham again. And I would just hit whatever. And my sister, this is how we would fight, she took the phone off the wall and threw it at me.
Yeah, I could see that. That's definitely a Terry movie.
Oh, we had some good
I wish
fights.
You could call in.
Some good fights, yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had to say about episode 1.
Well, there's one really quick final note on episode 1.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't write this note down. This is a real line in this episode. One day they're on the potty, the next they're smoking pot.
Jesus.
Did you remember that line?
I don't remember. That's great.
Yeah. Then I just wrote, get your tubes tied.
But it is funny, like so many...
How many accidents do you have to have before you get yourself fixed?
Yeah. And then, we have for some reason I have Debbie Downer down here. I don't know, was it Tom who did that? I don't know. It was definitely during this conversation where it was like, the silence is terrific till you get used to it. Sometimes it's not so terrific.
Because they had the friends over.
It was the doctor friend who, in episode 5, was not a big fan of Andrea Baldwin, right?
That's right.
He was mad because she wrote an article or something about him or something. Or she was political of some sort. Anyways, so we want to talk about episode 6.
Let's do it.
All right, so episode 6 was called Quarantine, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to do this.
Yeah,
we have to do this. I'm so curious as to how they would reference it. And this is before I learned that this was the first episode after the mom had died.
That's right, the actress,
the mom disappeared. Diana Hyland died. So, and I wish I had written down... I did write down when she died. She died on 3/27. I wish I had... I don't think I could find when they actually started filming and stuff like that. So obviously it was after she died. But anyway, my biggest thing was obviously no reference to the mom. That was my biggest thing in the whole thing. It was distracting throughout the whole episode because I was waiting and waiting and waiting for them to reference it. Something. She's in LA. Yeah. She's upstairs.
Glad your mom isn't here to see this. Good thing she's visiting her sister. And it's so easy. It's it's weird. She just isn't there.
Reference.
It's a weekly show, for God's sake.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will say...
Good.
I felt it was definitely like a switch in how the family was running, like how the household was running. I noticed that immediately, and maybe it's because I was looking for it, but I don't think it was. But I noticed that this was like the first episode that you see the kids helping out around the house. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that?
I did notice that.
So they're doing laundry, they're cooking dinner, they're cleaning, they're taking care of Nicolas, they're doing all these things. And that felt more familiar to me. And I think that's why I kind of forgot about the mom even being there in the first place. That feel of all of that, like everyone helping out and everybody doing their own thing to help the household, that felt much more familiar to me than the other 2 episodes that we had watched.
Yeah.
So I hate to say
I wonder if there was all of that sort of like swirl, if you will,
yeah.
So that maybe the audience wouldn't realize that the mother is totally missing. I
wonder.
It
seemed like such a different feel, though, didn't it to you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing. Because it's like, I think maybe because everyone's running around and helping and doing stuff to create some commotion.
So that's why it feels different.
So you don't, right. So you don't connect it like, oh, hey, someone's missing from this melee.
Yes. So Mary's boyfriend or friend had gone to China, was that right? Or Singapore, I want to say, for some reason. And they thought, and then he got sick, and so they thought that she had been exposed, so that was the whole deal, was they weren't allowed to leave the house. They couldn't even leave the house. So all of them were stuck inside. David, thank God he had moved out, because he was the only one that could go shopping for them.
Yeah.
It was a lot of similarities to what's going on now,
yeah.
right, with this quarantine stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Nancy was on a date, or it was supposed to be a
blind date, yeah.
A blind first date, and he showed up, and it was like mere seconds later when they were all ended up being quarantined. And it was interesting. Like, I remember not really loving Nancy to begin with.
Nancy's the pretty blonde.
She's the pretty blonde.
She has a subplot of becoming a model in a later season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But she was a bitch. She was outwardly rude. However, I thought it was hilarious that she came downstairs wearing the same exact shirt that he had on.
Yes.
That was quite funny.
I didn't want him to be a bitch.
She was rude to him from the second he walked in, based only on his looks.
Yeah. Which feels true to me, though.
She didn't even want to go down. She didn't want to go downstairs. And everyone's like, Nancy, your date's here. Da, da, da. And it was, and then she clearly, and he ended up being obviously like his personality shone through. Yeah. He was nice and kind and, helped out or whatever. And it all worked out. Like but I thought she was really rude. I thought everybody else was nice.
I just thought she was so pretty, though.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
gorgeous.
Like, she's gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
But none of these actresses, I mean, if you look at Wikipedia, a lot of them just stopped acting.
Yeah. Did anybody do... Well, obviously Willie Ames.
The one who was probably most active was Willie Ames, and then followed by, was it Laurie, who is the actress? Like the old one was third... Joni, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Joni. And
I think her real name is Laurie.
That's right, yeah. So she's done like a ton of Fantasy Island, Love Boat, along with... Susan, the Southern girl. Yeah. She's done some Love Boats and I think Fantasy Island.
And she was the most familiar to me. Did she remind you at all of Nikki in Orange is the New Black?
Oh, funny. Maybe. A little bit.
She reminded me of her somehow.
A little bit, yeah, with like the hair and stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say, damn it, I forget.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, there was something important about her. Oh, and I remember this, though. So, this is like the last season of the show, second to last season, so she had a baby.
Yeah.
And it was the last season. And on the show, too.
Sure.
And she gained 90 pounds.
Wow.
And I remember reading, and like, I don't know if it was National Enquirer was around then, but I remember seeing headlines that they were going to fire her for being overweight.
Wow.
And that was a huge deal. They were going to recast her role. And but I remembered that because I was like, wait, I'm like, what is that?
How many seasons did they have?
4. It was 4. I think maybe 5.
Really? I felt like there was like 8.
Same. Isn't that funny? I thought this. If you had asked me in like a trivia thing, I would have been like 10 seasons. I felt like it was just always on.
It was always on. There were a lot of episodes per season.
Only 4. No, I think there's like 117 episodes.
Weird. It must have just been in that teenage formative years for me. Like really made an impact.
Yeah.
That's a riot. Wow.
Some really funny, little funny dialogues. One of the, and I don't know who said what, but one of the sisters said, I think to your point about picking on each other.
Yeah.
One says, I just thought of something. And the other sister says, beginner's luck.
I like that kind of stuff was really cute to me. I thought that was funny. Oh, here's some dialogue for you.
Geez.
So Nancy's talking about, she's avoiding this guy, Chris, is the blind date, right?
Yeah.
She's avoiding him. This poor guy shows up at this girl's house. He is a stranger in this huge house of millions of people.
Yeah.
Can't leave, right? She is avoiding him the whole time. Yeah. And I don't know who was saying what to who.
Okay.
To whom. This made me gasp.
Oh no.
Kunta Kinte might be free, but Chris belongs to you.
Ooh.
Isn't that weird?
So weird.
Reference? A Roots reference? I'm like, what?
So odd. That's
weird.
Odd.
In the same episode, they referenced Starsky and Hutch, so I'm wondering if they were trying to incorporate pop culture into the episodes.
Yeah.
Much like, like Will and Grace does.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
that sort of thing. I wonder if they were trying their hand at that. But I don't remember seeing that in any of the episodes. Like, I feel like a lot of these episodes were like, let's try this.
Yeah.
For an episode.
Yeah.
And see how that works.
Yeah.
But did they get, like, immediate... how could they have gotten immediate response from stuff like that, though? Like, it's weird that they would try something for one episode.
So I looked at the ratings, and truly, in season 1, they ended up as number 23. Of course, it's so fewer shows.
Oh, right, yeah.
23. And then second season, they were number 11. Third season, number 12. And then fourth season, they weren't even in the top 30, and then it was canceled. So what happened? It's so weird to be almost a top 10 show, and then in your fourth season, you're not even in the top 30.
It's so weird, and I can't believe they only had 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of freaking out right now. Like, I'm freaking out. Because I feel like they had a lot of reunion specials.
They did do that, but it
wasn't super successful. Like, why were they doing reunions?
I think because so at the end of the fourth season, it was canceled because of budget and
there's a lot of actors to pay.
And it kept losing ratings. But as the episodes went on, and I think there was no real conclusion. So I think maybe it was just old school. Like people were writing ABC or whatever, saying like, "Hey, it feels very incomplete." Yeah, they had 2 reunions. They did a wedding. I think it was like the Brady Bunch. They did those wedding reunion things.
I remember one scene from the reunion. They're all the girls are sitting in a bedroom, like in their old bedroom or whatever, and they all have their own problems, right? Someone's like, infertile, and like there's all these like weird, I don't know, alcoholism probably. And I remember Mary, like, kind of saying, "What are we doing? We're talking to each other like we're strangers." And then they all kind of like said, "Okay, fine, this is all my problems." Like, it was just a weird scene. And I remember that like quite clearly. It's strange.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But what's funny with the reunion ones, because there were 2, and both times Abby was played by a different actress. Mary Fran from Newhart played Abby.
And she did a good job with that, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that too.
She's a good replacement for Betty Buckley.
She also passed away, sadly. Yeah.
But Betty Buckley was great. I really liked her.
I have nothing else on episode 6.
So
let's hear what you have for that.
What else do I have? I said Mary she kind of had like a Jamie Lee Curtis vibe to me.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Totally.
Yeah. For some reason, I was like kind of thinking of that. The mom was no longer in the credits. Again, I was like fascinated with the mom.
One more thing about Mary. I also had a little bit of a
Carrie Fisher?
No, Kate Jackson.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Because I wrote down Carrie Fisher too. If you just said Carrie Fisher, we would have been like back on track without mentioning.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was just like blown away with the no reference, and then Nicolas runs away. So I really liked the interaction with Joni and Nicolas, because Nicolas had did they determined that it was him that stole. So he had some stolen goods in a box under his bed.
Yes.
And he said a friend stole them, and he was holding it.
Keeping them for him.
But we decided that wasn't true, right at the end. Or,
I feel like they both stole.
Yeah, something was going on there. But he ends up. But this is kind of funny, just in this day and age type of thing. I liked the interaction with Joni and Joni and Tommy. It was always ended up being like as the season progressed. It always seemed like it was like a group of three.
Yeah.
Like a group of three. This is their storyline. This group of three. And this group of three was Joni and Tommy with Nicolas, and Nicolas had whatever stolen these goods, and they found this box of stuff, and they're like, "Where did you get this?" And so they were trying to get him to confess to the dad, which he never did. He decided instead to run away from home.
Yeah.
During a quarantine.
Yeah.
And I feel like that part of it was never really addressed, that he could be contaminating other people.
Oh, no, they did.
They did?
Okay. They were
Okay.
really worried about that he was going to spread it to... Because I think they thought he was at the playground, right? And then he would give it to other kids.
Okay.
And then he was And then, remember, because then David thought he was hiding behind this little thing, and it opened up and it wasn't him at all.
Oh, yes! Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah. He, approached this little boy.
I have a question for you as a mother.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I called BS on when they saw Nicholas's toys, that they knew they were new toys.
There's no way.
How would they know?
There's no way. You know how much shit is in this house right now?
No shit. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, not about your house, but I remember growing up, who knew what toy was new?
Right. I chalked it up to him
that they were
hiding it under the bed, and his reaction to it. And that's, as a mom, that's more or less how you never really know anything, but you can tell something's off by the reaction of the kid.
Yeah.
Like that's, you have no idea like what they're lying about, but you can say, I know exactly what you're lying about, and then they'll eventually kind of confess. But yeah, so that's kind of what I chalked it up to as a mom. Kind of like, all right, there's no way I would know if there's stolen goods in this house right now. There's no way. And what was the other thing? Oh, I just wrote down that Mary was dusting with a feather duster.
I don't think I noticed that. I didn't catch that.
I just thought it was like, so like, are we in like the 50s all of a sudden? Like, who has a feather duster?
This is episode 8. This is episode 8, but the housekeeping thing, right. Episode 8, the only housekeeping thing with the feather duster is watching Susan do the dishes made me almost gag.
Oh no.
The dishes were so filthy. I'm like, oh. And then she was making them soapy and then putting them in the dirty water with the other dirty dishes, and she was lifting up and like, that is so gross. I'm like, I was truly
oh my god, that's
gagging.
So funny. So we can move on.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else.
Yeah. Do we want to take a little break and then go into episode 8?
I will just let everybody know that I know they're on the edge of their seat right now. Oh. The boyfriend did not have malaria or whatever it is that they thought. So everybody was safe. Everybody was fine. Nobody caught anything.
The dog was okay.
Everybody was fine. Oh yeah, David brings over the dog.
It was really nice.
Which was nice, but wouldn't you have mentioned that you have a dog?
Because he did. The kid did. Because that.
Oh, he said, "Can you feed the dog?"
Because he didn't want them really to know that. Remember, his parents divorced and his mom walked out or something.
Yeah,
it was just him and his dad, and his dad then was like working all the time, so he had no one. This poor kid, and I think that's what made people open their hearts a little bit.
Nancy, everybody else had an open heart to him. Everybody else was nice to him.
I find you hate Nancy.
Nancy was a jerk.
We'll be right back
after this break.
Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back talking about 8 is Enough, the lovely sitcom from 1977. So we're on episode 8. We did 4 episodes, and we're on the 4th episode that we are revisiting. Episode 8, called Hit and Run.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this one?
I thought the scene with the ice cream man. So basically, Tommy and a friend are using a slingshot to shoot a can off of a street sign. First of all, Tommy scales up and down that street sign with the grace of a ballet dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Puts the can...
Limber.
Very limber. Puts the can on top of the sign, goes to shoot the can off. He misses the can, and wouldn't you know it, smashes through a church window.
Of all windows to smash.
And Tommy's friend, as most friends do, run in the opposite direction.
It takes off.
And Tommy's scared, and he decides that he's going to run as well in the other direction. Mm-hmm. However, what Tommy doesn't realize is there's the world's creepiest fucking ice cream man watching.
He's probably the one that was spying on David in the bushes.
Watching Tommy's every move.
And he knows exactly who he is.
Oh, I wrote, He has the best eyesight in the business.
Something else.
An immediate sense of deduction. Like, he knew enough to look at the church window.
Which was quite far away.
So far away.
Yeah.
And then our story begins there. I will say this. One thing I noticed about this episode in particular is how, and I mean this as a compliment, how ordinary everyone looks. Like, the actors, they look like real, normal people.
Yes, they should
and as pretty as Nancy is, I mean, she doesn't look outrageously gorgeous.
No.
And Grant Goody, very handsome, but he would be someone that you would just
a normal,
see, like, oh, he's a cute guy.
Like, they're not overly made up.
Yeah.
They're, they look
I appreciated
like
it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, Susan, she's a little bit odd looking, and Joni is a little bit odd looking. But, that's what I mean.
But you mean that as a compliment.
In a compliment. Yeah, average.
Yeah. Let's see. Some of this I already said before, and I won't repeat it. About stuff about Mary and the laugh track.
There's something about Mary.
Oh God, what does this mean? I wrote, Nicolas. So they go to the ice cream truck appears again.
Yes.
And Nicolas and Tommy run up to the ice cream truck. They only have 15 cents.
Right.
So they can only get something, and they can split it.
Yeah.
With 15 cents. So Tommy says to Nicolas, what would you like? And Nicolas says, the usual. And Tommy says, what? And then Nicolas says, anything. And the laugh track goes off the charts. I'm like, wait, what? Because to me the joke is when a little kid would say, the usual. That's the joke.
The funny joke. Yeah.
Anything is not the joke. It's just they use that laugh track so weirdly.
Yeah, it is a very strange usage of the laugh track.
And the other one that gets a big laugh, older brothers sure are weird. Crowd goes wild.
Wah, wah, wah.
What's your take on this?
See, I think that your opinion of Nicolas is slighted because of the laugh track. I think you would have liked him better if it wasn't.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to laugh at.
Right.
Laugh track.
Exactly. Yeah. I will laugh, but I feel like laughing when I feel like it's funny. I will laugh at it's the usual.
Well, different people find different things funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to have a laugh.
That's why I have a big problem with laugh tracks in general, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, the other storyline on this was the creepy guy with Joni.
I can't believe you're saying that.
Another creepy guy. You don't think he was creepy?
Christina, I really liked them together.
Okay. So, here's the problem that I have with him, is that he basically is blackmailing Joni into dating him.
Yeah.
So you don't think that's creepy? You think that's okay?
Can I tell you the dialogue?
# me too.
Really quick, here's the dialogue. He says, first of all, she bangs his car.
So they have a cute interaction at first. When they meet, they do have a cute interaction.
Instant,
yes, they do. They do hit it off right away. Yes, you're right.
she bumps his car, and then he says, and you're right, because he says to the mechanic, actually, you know what, don't fix it.
No, because I want to blackmail this girl into dating me. Or into actually, not even dating, just helping with this article.
Just to read it. Just to read it.
Yes.
In the hopes of a retraction.
Yes, but nonetheless, he's blackmailing her to try to influence the father.
Correct.
Is everybody following this storyline?
Tom Bradford wrote a scathing expose or review of this business proposal from Creepy Guy. And, however, he didn't even read the whole thing. He said it was a little boring, so he just assumed the rest. Shitty journalism, quite frankly. And
well, he's playing hooky, playing golf all the time.
He's an awful work employee. I wouldn't hire Tom Bradford.
No wonder he's financially
no kidding. Yeah, maybe work a little harder and put in some overtime.
He's paid by
Nicolas
word.
Nicolas needs tonsil surgery. So, Laurie, two things. So after Tommy smashes the window and runs away, Laurie smashes into a parked car, and drives away.
Hit and run.
Hit and run.
It's a little play on words there with both situations.
So, leading to very uncomfortable dialogue, which went into places I did not expect it would go. Mm-hmm. When the man shows Laurie the estimate for the car repair, and it's $300, and she screams over a cup of coffee.
Yes.
$300? What can I do for you that's worth $300?
Right?
And I'm like, sleep with him.
This is exactly...
Sleep with him.
I wrote, he's blackmailing her into sex.
That's what I thought, too. And he's
that's
like,
exactly what I
just want your dad to read my business proposal.
She's like, should I put these away then?
It's almost, To me, it's like, that's even creepier. You want me to read something?
Is this the same episode that she borrowed the money from David?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was lying all over the place to cover up this one lie. And I also wrote Where's Mom? But that's all I had. But here's the thing. I did like their chemistry, and I liked at the end she said, you are taking this $300 because I don't want you to... people to think that my dad retracted it because
and that all made sense. But I thought it was interesting that in essence the bad guy won because he was the bad guy. He's blackmailing Joni to make her influence her dad, which is like kind of. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that really going to happen? And she does. And the other thing was like, why didn't she just tell him what was going on too? Like, it was kind of strange that Joni seems, well, aside from like hit and run situation, like she seems like an ethical kind of girl.
Yeah.
Like, she seems like someone that would be honest and talk to. It seems like they have a good relationship, that she would be able to talk to him. And she could explain, like, oh, well, here's the pickle I'm in, Dad. Can you just read the article for me?
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I guess it feels like, well, he would have flown right off the handle. But it was interesting. I liked that it was about an environmental impact proposal. So I thought that was very timely.
However, what I didn't like about this was that when Joni left the room, Tom went to make a phone call, and the guy said to Tom, and while we're talking, have you considered putting a condo on the lake shore or whatever? And I was like, wait a minute. You're really pushing it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, one thing at a time.
Yeah, true.
I wrote nuns are the worst. Like, that
nun
was
God.
so mean.
She was so mean.
Awful. It's like, come on.
Yeah, she's making, and then I thought that was a little bit, like, kind of ridiculous.
What, a month of yard work?
Yes. For a broken window? Can't he just ask David for money?
But also, just she was mean about it. To me, if I was watching this episode like as a kid, like I'd be like, well, fuck that. I'm not telling the truth anymore, right?
In both,
you're getting in trouble.
In both cases,
you're exactly, Christina. You're right.
I love it. Every episode I'm getting this
because I'm thinking when I was watching this, I was like, if I was younger, this would teach me to keep with my first lie.
Yeah, absolutely.
poor Tommy, comes forward and is treated like garbage.
Yeah.
He is not rewarded for being honest.
Nope.
He's not rewarded for helping the church. Like, he's treated horribly.
And he's a good kid, basically.
Joni tries to do the right thing and gets wrapped up in this greedy businessman who sort of stalks her at her theater rehearsal.
So he is creepy.
I'm looking at that relationship through your eyes. I'm trying to look at it through your eyes, Christina. But my point is like,
yes.
Yeah, this is like, holy shit, telling the truth kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah, it was very interesting how they, like, you would have thought that it would have gone, maybe balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, in both cases, they got the short end of the stick.
Maybe that's why they never made it past 11.
Yeah,
on the
just some weird. Mrs. Garrett was like giving the advice.
Yes, it's Mrs. Yeah, she's and then what happened at the end with Tommy? He ended up not being able to. So this is what the other thing was kind of weird to me.
Soccer.
He was not able to. Yeah, because he had was it soccer tryouts? It was an important thing.
He said, if I do that, I'm gonna miss the tryouts. He's like, well, then I guess you're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, so seriously, you're gonna not let him play soccer for the entire season.
Yeah.
Because of this one stupid broken window, and he's already been working his ass off.
It was an accident, for God's sake. Tom, if you care that much, bail your son out.
Yeah.
Cough up the money to fix the window. Your kid did it, right? Like, I mean, there's a point where it's like, yes, sure, responsibility. Tommy was.
Yeah.
The nun was taking way an extreme amount of advantage of the situation.
Yes.
The father could have stepped in and been like, when the nun was chastising Tom Bradford, he could have been like, you know what? I would like to make a donation to the church on behalf of my son because he's already given you a couple of weeks of labor, and now he just can't give as much. So let me just help. What can I do? Instead of no, Tommy, you're sacrificing your
entire
sports
future.
Career. Yeah,
this could be a soccer scholarship somewhere.
It was a fucking accident.
It was a weird. Yeah, it was very disproportionate with the punishment and the crime. And the only other note I have on this one is that Nancy reminded me a lot of Chrissy Snow. So Nancy's, again, the blonde.
Yeah.
And I thought that she had a very Chrissy Snow kind of vibe.
One of the truest, this ties into that, one of the truest scenes of the 4 episodes is when Nancy's trying to tell a joke, and they've heard all the jokes. Mm-hmm. And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And her 2 sisters are like, and they keep ruining the punchline. And I was like, that's
such
a very sibling. Yeah, it's a very sibling thing.
Totally. I also feel like when I was watching it too, I was kind of thinking that I was always fascinated by the show and the sisters and things like that because I could relate probably. But also I think part of it was that because there were so many actors in the show, they got very little screen time. And I think that added to kind of the mystique of them. And I was always kind of wanting more from each of the individual actors. But anyway, it was sort of an observation I had while I was revisiting. But anyway, so would you recommend? What do you think? Would you recommend this to our viewers, our listeners?
So controversially, I would not. I think the episodes, and we had sort of brushed upon this. I do think the episodes don't need to be 44 minutes, whatever, 42
very
minutes, whatever.
Long. Every one of them felt long.
It did feel long.
Yeah.
And I do think some of the behavior, I don't know if we need to revisit that behavior nowadays. Mm-hmm. I know it's 77 and things are different, yes. I don't know if I don't think you got enough of a lesson. Because Tom...
There weren't any lessons, really.
Really? In Tom's behavior, the father is pretty antiquated, and I don't think that's going to help any conversation. Mm-hmm. I think, and honestly, some of the acting isn't so great. It's unfortunate to say that, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did then.
Mm-hmm. So I think I enjoyed it in a different way. A lot of that is the nostalgia, for sure. And of course, we're nitpicking a little bit. When I was, I don't know how old was I? I was 10. I was 10. So obviously, I'm not pinpointing every, looking at every single thing. So it's obviously different. But I did like it in just that nostalgia and looking back and I laughed at a lot of the conversations because it's something that you would never hear, like, oh my, like gasping and like, oh my gosh, like that part was kind of funny to me. But I think I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's never seen it, but I might recommend it to, like, if you have a diehard 8 is enough fan, you know what I mean? Like, just having them revisit it with, like, new eyes would be interesting. Not all of the episodes, but maybe, probably not even maybe the quarantine one was good, or,
I'm telling you, so let's repeat the show titles that we watched. So we watched the pilot, episode 1. We watched episode 5 called Turnabout. That's with Adrienne Barbeau as the guest star. Episode 6, Quarantine. Episode 8, Hit and Run. And I really liked episode 5. I liked Turnabout.
Episode 5 was good too. Yeah, I liked episode 5, but I felt like it could have.
Well, episode 5, really quick, you do get, because I wrote the Bradfords yell a lot, and I wrote yelling about the phone, yelling about the car, yelling about David's room. It's a lot of yelling, so I think you get, episode 5 gives you that sort of 101 on how things run at the Bradford house.
Yeah.
At least when the mom was there. So, I think that's a pretty solid, I would say I highly recommend episode 5, but as the series as a whole, based on those 4 episodes, I don't think, I won't be going back to watch more.
No, I probably wouldn't. Although, I don't know, I would be interested maybe in revisiting, I don't think I will, but I would be interested in revisiting a later season when they're a little bit more established and maybe better acting.
Do you know that Ralph Macchio joined the show? Do you remember this?
I read that. It was like... he
was like the troubled nephew of Abby.
Abby's nephew, yeah. That's a jump the shark moment.
Well...
8 is
one.
Enough. What are they going to change it to?
No, well, I think because they
8
probably
wasn't enough.
Either they're going to fire Susan for gaining weight, or Nicolas is losing his cuteness.
Well, that was it. So is Nicolas older then?
They did that in Family Ties.
Yeah, I know. But was Nicolas older than what's his face? Ralph
Macchio. Maybe because they didn't want any of the existing kids to be
people were getting married
right.
and moving out too. Like, I think Susan got married, and I think
Nancy's modeling career took off.
Yeah, so people are moving out of the house, so maybe they just needed more bodies in the house.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So there's more of a storyline there.
Lord. Are we ready for questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, why don't you go first?
This is a true match game, Christina.
Okay. I'm going to write down my answer.
Tom Bradford has so many kids.
How many kids does he have? This doesn't really work that way.
When it's dinner time, he announces it by blank.
I'm trying to think of a good way. I'm trying to think of a good... I know what I want to say, but I'm trying to think of, like, the way to say it. He announces it.
Christina, we need an answer.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say this, and it's...
All right. Tom Bradford has so many kids. When it's dinner time, he announces it by blank.
What's the thing that you...
Megaphone?
Megaphone.
And so let's look at this. I wrote megaphone,
but
I wrote email. I went like,
gosh! So I was going back and forth. That's why I was kind of like telegram, but no, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like something like that, like an ad in the newspaper, or, something like that.
You've done like cowbell. You could have done.
But I think megaphone.
Yeah, megaphone.
I'm pretty.
That was a very good.
Yeah, I'm good with that answer. So I'm gonna do an F, Marry, Kill for you.
Okay.
And so with the 3 I have here are, I think it's a gift for you.
Okay.
David.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing Nicolas because it's a child.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Tom Bradford, the father.
Okay.
And I'm going to write down what I think you will say.
I'm done.
Okay, I've written down what I think you will do.
Pretty much. Oh no, that's not okay. Yeah, I would marry David, sex Tommy, and kill Tom.
Absolutely. 100%. I'm not sure what else would be.
Well, I can see people marrying Tom because he's like the quintessential
the
father for your kids.
I suppose. But, oh my God, who's not going to marry David? Come on. He's gorgeous and sweet, and he has those little lovey-dovey eyes when he falls in love.
Yep. And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please. If you have an idea for the show, a suggestion, or a comment, email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Till next time.